Now, I know you moved into photography, but why did you leave the music industry and move into photography?
When I was in the music industry, I was always curious about photography
Okay.
because I was always in front of the camera, but I was
Uh,
always curious about what was going on behind the camera. I wanted to know, how are you doing this? What are you
hmm.
pressing? Why do you need this? What is that? And and then I just would tinker. So it was something that I enjoyed doing. I was always into photography from the time I was a little kid. I had one of those really small, you probably too young to remember, but like one of those little 110 cameras. They were really small and you pop the film in the back. So that was one of my very first cameras. And I was paparazzi when I was like 6 or 7. I was paparazzi back then. So um I loved photography for a long time.
Wow.
So when I got out of that industry, it was something I played around with. I still wasn't a professional photographer. I actually went from the music industry into interior design.
Wow.
Photography was always a side thing, a side hobby for me because I wasn't making money, but it was definitely something I loved doing, and I would invest money into getting better equipment, learning, taking classes, things like that. It wasn't like YouTube now where you can go to YouTube University for free and learn everything. So back then it was like you had to pay somebody, go over to their studio, take a course. And so I did that in the beginning. But I definitely got straight from the music industry into interior design. And then from interior design, I went into healing, where I became a bodywork practitioner. So I do like massage. Um, kind of, when I first started, it was more, I was going to school for physical therapy to become a physical therapist.
Okay.
And then I dropped out because I was like, I don't think I want to do this much school. And I ended up, going into doing like therapy, working on athletes and stuff like that. But yeah, so a lot more stuff that happened before I started taking my photography seriously and actually thought I was good enough to start charging people. So it took a few years to get to that point, and then I started charging people.
Oh, wow. But the interior design, then what about the DIY stuff? Is it mainly where you live?
That's all tied into the interior design stuff.
Okay.
So the
Okay.
whole DIY thing, not just designing stuff, but also building out things. When I was married, the garage was mine. So you know how most men, the garage is theirs. That's
Yeah.
like their cave, the
Yeah.
man cave, so to speak, and they build it out for all the tools, all the bells and whistles. It was mine. My My husband had no idea what was going on out there in the garage, nor did he have any interest in knowing what was going on out there in the garage. He was just like, one neighbor had went by one day, and we're both standing out there talking, and the guy walks by, "Hey neighbor," kind of thing, and he's like, "Man, you got a nice setup there." He turned around, he looked at me, he was like, "That's my wife." Like, that ain't got nothing to do with me. I don't even know nothing about that stuff. So it was really funny because that was me. I fixed everything in the house. I was I was the one doing all of that stuff. So
Oh.
still a tomboy. It's being raised by 7 boys, pretty much.
Yes, you said, brothers. Now you also mentioned you have got a YouTube channel for those who want to search it out. And what is it that you cover on your channel?
So my channel started out with photography, and then when I got my first rig that I converted into a tiny home, it started to take more of a turn where people were more interested in seeing this young Black woman do all this DIY stuff. And so I started picking up that audience. And I think that's kind of where it started to really get more subs and, people interested. And then I was featured on Tiny House Giant Journey, which is a really big channel on YouTube, where she featured my first tiny home and told people who I was. And so it was kind of funny because now everybody was like, wait a minute, that's her? Like, because remember, I wasn't in the video. So people were kind of, I think, shocked to see that I had resurfaced because, up until that point, I think everybody thought I had just fallen off the face of the earth. And it's like, nah, I'm here. I'm just doing my own thing. And so after that, I got people interested in wanting to know what was going on with me, because it was like, wow, I can't believe that's LeShaun, the voice of Doing It. And then, wow, but she's doing all this other stuff. And so on my channel now, I would say it's lifestyle, but my focus is on design, tiny houses, and travel, DIY stuff.
Okay.
And it's just me just being me. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
just
like
being me.
Yeah, it's like a personal blog, so people can see you in action across the different. What is the name of the channel for those who might be?
LeShaun Will. So it's my name. It's LeShaun, and then my last name Will. It's Williams, but it's a play on words. It's sort of like a double entendre, because you got LeShaun Will do photography, LeShaun Will travel, LeShaun Will design. So I just cut it so that it's LeShaun Will. So that's what it is. And same thing on Instagram, LeShaun Will. And my photography is courtyouLooking.com. And that's COURTULOOKIN, Ebonics.